Hello, people of the internet. I'm Lost Nyas, and today we are going to be talking about Arcane. Now, if you haven't watched the entirety of Arcane, you need to watch it because one, I'm going to be talking about spoilers, and two, I am basically just going to be talking about the ending and how I'm going to fangirl over it because that's just what I know. That's what I know. I do it best. Anyways, my oh my, did that ending really surprise me? Honestly, if I have to be completely honest with y'all, whenever Vi and Jinx were fighting that thing, what is it, Warwolf or something, I don't know, but that thing that used to be Vander, I was like, okay, they're totally going to be like, one of them's probably gonna die in this, but then I'm like, no, maybe not, until somebody did eventually die, which is so crazy because I never thought that somebody actually died, right? And I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Whenever Jinx pulled that, like, out of nowhere, trying to take the hex core out of Violet's is what is it, little gauntlet. Whenever she did that, she took the hex core from it, I bawled. I was like, oh my god, what? Why are you gonna do this? Like, I didn't bawl my eyes out immediately, but I was like, no. I was literally in disbelief. I was just standing there, like, I mean, not standing there, but sitting there, and I looked like this. I really did. I was like in this amount of despair, and then whenever it all just kind of came, like, whenever she caressed like Vander's wolf face, I was like, oh my god, she's gonna die. And so I was just like, ah! and then she exploded, and then I was like, no, wait, and then I didn't even care what Mel's speech was at the end because I just didn't care. I ignored everything. I ignored all of that. I ignored it because I cared about Jinx's death. Jinx is my favorite character because not only do I don't relate to her at all. You know, I'm not living in the Undercity. I'm not living in Zone. I'm not, dealing with psychotic people trying to kill me every day. But god damn it, can we feel her pain on a very sympathetic and empathetic and very understanding level, to the point where I can try and put myself in her shoes and try and think, oh, how would I react in that situation, right? But this entire series, she's been wanting to basically off herself. In the first season, she blew herself up and she took herself out expecting to get Echo, and she did die. The only reason why she's alive now is because she's a product of a shimmer tester. Singed, yeah, that was his name, Singed. I think that's when he realized, hey, I can actually bring my daughter back, and that's when he put himself in the narrative. Although he's always had himself in the narrative, because all this time he's been doing, tests on stuff. He's been oh yeah, I'll probably get my daughter back. And at the end, oh my god, in the ending, that's all that that's all he wanted, and he got it. He and his daughter had a happy ending, which is not really all that surprising to me, because at the end of the day, it's the people who are most successful are the people who do anything to get that. And so it really does just, make sense for me. I would love to talk about the alternate universe, and my god, did that surprise me. I was sitting there, right? And I was like, I noticed that the vinyl CD was different, and I was like, huh. And then I was like, oh my god, is that Echo? And then I'm wondering who that other person is, and I'm like, wait, is that Powder? And I'm like, huh, why are they here? Are we? And then we see our boy Echo fancied up, dressed like he's in the Met Gala or something, and then we see Jinx, or not Jinx, but we see Powder with less trauma, and that was so gut-wrenching for me. But my boy, what's his name, Heimerdinger, he turned into a rock star within a year. no, 3, 4, I don't know, 10 years maybe, but he turned into a rock star, dude. He was playing on that banjo like it meant nothing. I know I'm kind of like going like back and forth. That's because I haven't really done this kind of content before. So if y'all guys will bear with me, I'm just gonna gush about it because it's my video. I could do what I want. Anyways, but whenever Echo and Jinx were dancing, and it was like 4 frames per second, I was like, wait a minute, is my service a little low? But then it was like, oh wait, no, this is how it's supposed to be, okay. And then I was just like enjoying the moment, and I was just like so happy for the both of them. I was so happy. And then like whenever it got to that scene where they were gonna kiss, I was gonna be like, oh my god, I was like, oh, why? And Echo is such a stronger person than me, because honestly, I would have stayed in that universe. I would have, like, I don't have the strength to get up and go back to the place where everything went wrong. It kind of makes sense why he would do that, because not only is his universe in danger, it's also because he still knows that he can save it. He still knows he doesn't know how to save it, but he knows that he has to go back because his Jinx is over there. His Powder is over there. His Jinx, Violet, his people that he's known for a long time is over there. Like, there was no problems in the other AU. I mean, there probably was, but it's not as bad as it was with the Hex Core. And at the end of that episode, we actually found out that Powder was the one who kept the Hex Cores, and she didn't want to, and we don't know why she didn't want to use them. Hell, I don't even know how she even came, if she like kept them after that, like, because in the alternate AU, Vi died. So I would want those rocks to be like just like thrown away or something, but I think she definitely did choose the better one, because if she has them, then that means that nobody else can tamper with them and do anything else, do like any bad stuff with it. And people on TikTok, they predicted that because Vi died from the Hex Cores, that he was basically jailed up because those things killed somebody, and therefore he killed somebody because it was in his possession. So they voted for him to be locked up for like ever or something, which is actually, it makes so much sense, because we have seen him in season 1 of Arcane, Act 1, 2, I don't know, but we've seen him like go through this trial where they're like, oh yeah, well, tell us why you think that this Hex Cores could be good for you, and he's like, because it's all about progression. And they all applaud him for that, which is kind of stupid, because for me, if I'm gonna try something new, I have to like know what it's gonna do first. I agreed with the Chihuahua dude, because he was like, because he's old, he like seen everything, and oh my god, in season 1, whenever they voted him off, I was like, well, that's like the most stupidest thing that you could possibly do. You know, because not only do you have somebody who has so much experience in this field, who probably has like some sort of pattern recognition, but you also have this dude who's been living for like ever, and the argument against him was like, because how can we move forward if we're still looking at the past? Like, sir, have you not heard of the phrasing, history repeats itself? Have you not heard that? Like, we have somebody from the past to remind us if he's seeing like patterns from the past, and then he's gonna know what's gonna happen next. I mean, come on. But still, it happened, which is pretty unfortunate. But I'm kind of glad that I'm so glad that Chihuahua dude found Echo, because Echo is a really grounded character. Echo was incredible. A lot of people like him because he lives up to this name of boy savior. He doesn't do anything wrong. He's like, I saw a video where it basically said that Echo is stuck in the present, and that's why he's such a grounded character, because he's always looking out for other people instead of his needs, which is the whole reason why he went to Piltover in the first place, because he needed to figure out why his tree was making that gooey, like, multicolored gel. And because that tree is basically their lifeline, like, how else would they live without it, you know, kind of stuff. He basically did that for the other people. And when he found that it was the hex core, he, like, got after Jace for it, which is valid, because I would get after Jace too. Hell, like, what do you mean you're messing around with something you don't understand? It really, Arcane is, like, a really wild, like, it's a really wild story, because you're following multiple plot lines, but the plot lines are kind of, like, intertwined together, which is something I haven't really seen done in media before. And of course, Arcane isn't entirely great. Arcane isn't like the glorious evolution of glorious evolutions. It's actually, but it sets itself up to the point where we kind of forget all of that, because the storytelling within itself, the artwork that it's been placed in, the conflicts, oh my god, it's like, I feel like that's a great makeup for it. Personally, I had a little bit of trouble following it sometimes, but I usually help myself by just pausing and being like, okay, so I try and straighten it out for myself, right? And then I play it, you know? I'm not saying that other people should do what I do. I'm saying that that's just what works for me, because I have so many big reactions whenever I watch something, especially media like Arcane, storytelling like Arcane, that's a little bit more complicated and a little bit more, like, not complicated, but a little bit more harder to digest. And I like it, because I don't want to turn my brain off and just have some background noise. No, I want to be fully immersed in a world. I want to be there in their shoes. I want to be Vi. I want to be in Jinx's shoes. I want to be in Caitlyn's shoes. I want to be where Vander stands, you know? Like, I don't just want to watch two people talk to each other blindly, you know, and not have, like, some sort of thing to get behind. And I feel like Arcane really does this well. Like, it really does put it into that perspective. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about? I have, like, a list of notes here. Oh, I watched a documentary on how Arcane was made, and honestly, it was so good. Like, it was so good. Like, what do you mean you're not just, like, what? You're not just, like, telling people, like, sitting there, like, doing that. You literally take us on this entire ride of the breakdowns of it, the steps of it, the music, the sound, you know, the writing process. That's great. That's what I want most of the behind-the-scenes documentaries to be like. I want them to be fully, like, understanding of, like, how the process was made. And although there were some secrets they couldn't tell us, which is perfectly fine, keep your secrets. Oh my god, I wish more studios did that. Like, Fortiche, I think it's called. Fortiche is the studio that I would want to see more of, because not only is their art style amazing, okay, but I love the details in the art style. Like, it goes without showing. It shows us and it tells us, hey, if you were to pause at any moment in our animation, you'd get a full painting of artwork. Like, any single, like, anywhere in the video, any frame is a piece of artwork, whether it be like a smear frame, whether it be like an impact frame, whether it just be like a conversational frame. All of that detail really does matter. It's not that it's not life-changing, it's that it's like setting up a new bar for other studios to try and, like, reach to. Because a lot of studios, although I do have a complaint, though. I do have a complaint. sometimes when series think that they're not going to get more than one series, not series, studios, whenever they think they're not going to be getting more than one season, are going to be trying to rush everything within 8 episodes. Which sucks, because what happened to our original 24 episode format? What happened to our original 12 episode format? And it's unfortunate that this happens, because I want to get more attached to these characters. I want to be more in depth with them. I want to love them. But with as much content as they give us, as much of that as they do, I'm not saying I'm ungrateful for it. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that. It's just, you know, as a fan, I would love to have more, like, bonding moments, I guess. And I think that's a critique for, like, a lot of shows nowadays, for a lot of, like, up and coming, like, animation, because they don't take time for us to really bond with the character. So they're just like, okay, you've seen this, let's move on to the next, you know? And I don't blame them. I don't blame the studio for that. I don't blame the writers for it, because overall, it's kind of like an animation expectation kind of thing, you know? And so far, they've expected, at least of most of the animations that I've seen, there's only been like 8 episodes to try and cover everything all at once. And there are so many characters, and sometimes there's so many characters, like in Hazbin Hotel, it overwhelms me when there's so many characters. It really does. And when I get overwhelmed, I start to be like tired of it. It starts to become mind-numbing. The one thing that I think Arcane makes up with its pacing and its beat and its rhythm is that it tries to, like, it doesn't tell us about these side characters, you know? It shows us. Like, in the ending, there were several side characters that I kind of actually enjoyed looking at. Like the guy who, like, gave the location of Vi and Caitlyn up to Silco, because he wanted the shimmer. I liked that. And he came back in act 2 of season 2, and he was healed by Victor. And I kind of liked that. And then we have the war scenes, and where we're shown we're shown this one family being split apart and them having to fight, and then the father dying because of it. And then we later on see that this family is mourning him via lantern rite type stuff, I appreciate that about Arcane. They don't just tell, they show us the impact of war. They show us the pros and cons of whatever is happening. And I praise them for that. I praise them. If League of Legends puts out more lore for its world, I would be in on it. Because as long as they're working with, like, Fortiche, and as long as they have, like, the same set of writers who are passionate about this, who are greatly, like, influenced to wanting to do this and put all of their energy and time to it, if they have animators that are happy doing what they're doing, I would be for it. Because if they make more animations and more animated series like this, I would be so happy. After Arcane, it's kind of hard to watch anything else without comparing it to Arcane, because Arcane has really set that bar incredibly high. So whenever I want somebody to keep on making animations and keep on making stories like that, it really does tell me that there's not going to be anything else like Arcane in a very, very long time. And it sucks, because I am very picky on what I like to watch. Now, I'm going to be also talking about, like, what I'm confused about most in like just the Arcane show, because I had a lot of confusions. One, Echo completely forgot about the tree. Like, I mean, I would too personally forget about something, but as somebody who I'm the kind of person to be like, we have a problem, we must find a solution, we get that solution, you know? But, you know, I've never been into an alternate universe to forget everything about that happened in that life. I've never been pushed, like, I've never been, like, you know, in that situation. So I'm gonna kind of be lenient with it. But at the same time, it's like, dude, are you forgetting about your tree? What about your tree? But in the end, I think it eventually turned out okay, because if it wasn't okay, I feel like we would have had a different ending to where Echo was. Oh my god. Echo was at the same spot where they kissed. Makes me so sad. I actually bawled at that scene. I want to bawl again, but I can't. I was really confused, but I definitely think that the tree problem was solved with Victor being... It's not good that Victor died, because I really liked him as a character, but at the same time, like, it's kind of sad seeing them go. Oh, another thing that confused me about Arcane is, what was Ambessa's, like, greater picture type of moment? I don't know Ambessa. I don't know her personality type. I don't know, like, who she is, like, at her core. But I would, if I was a war hero, right, and I wanted to rule over some plane, if I wanted to be, like, super, like, strong, making, like, warriors be, like, making warriors who are strong and this and that, I mean, yeah, it makes sense. But why go to war? I mean, I get it. That's all she wants. That's all Ambessa wanted. But, like, even after the confrontation with Mel, she still chose to be a war hero than to be a mother, which was incredibly sad to see. I was so disappointed, because as somebody who isn't a mother, I would expect to choose my child over bloodshed. Like, I don't understand. I really don't understand what her entire motive was. Like, I get it, like, oh, you get to rule over Piltover, you get to have so much fun with it, you get to be so, like, cool with it. But then it's just like, actually, if you destroy the place you're wanting to rule over, that just makes you somebody who gains nothing from destruction. Literally. And, you know, and some people were like, well, maybe she was just trying to manipulate Victor. And I'm like, girl, why would she try and manipulate something she doesn't understand? Because Victor was top on that stuff. Like, he was being controlled by the Hex Core, basically. And it really sucks, because it's like, well, I mean, we've seen that he's being controlled by this. Like, Victor, like, wants to help people, but the Hex Core is basically manipulating that idea to making a bunch of things that will rule over the planet and take it for itself. Which sucks. Like, how was Ambessa even going to control him? I mean, like, maybe she, like, I don't know, like, talked to, like, Singed and was like, can you make something to, like, control him or something? I don't know. It's, like, so confusing why she decided to do that. I mean, yeah, I guess she's, like, hungry for war, but against her own daughter? Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. And I get the feeling that she's been, you know, like, to city to spread war and fear among the people and to bring in more soldiers to tame or something. But she's basically, it was such a confusing moment for me. I think there's, like, something in her like, I hope that there's something in her League of Legends lore to really mend that fact of her choosing war over anything. But I don't know. It just didn't make sense for me. It still doesn't make sense to me now. And I hope that I find a video that explains it well, because I would really like that to be explained. Another thing I didn't understand was the jail scene, the jail cell scene. If y'all guys know, where Vi and Kate were gonna be doing the Devil's Tango, when really, if my sister said that she was gonna end the cycle, meaning ending herself, I would have been like, holy sh! I have to get out of here. I have to, like, try and save her. I have to find her body or something. But no, she, Vi really wanted that cookie. Like, that's the one thing I'm so confused about. Like, why? Like, I feel like it was such awkward timing. I do feel like the last episode especially was a little rushed. But at the end of the day, I really did like how it ended. I didn't like how Jinx died, because Jinx ended up exploding herself, which is not really confirmed that she died, because at the end of the day, Caitlyn was like, oh my god, she could have used the air ducts to vent, and then the air ducts to vent, making her sus imposter or something. And it just, and then, Vi doesn't really acknowledge that she died, but neither does Kate. They both don't say anything about her death, so it makes me think that she did live, because if somebody died, I would have been like, oh hey, sorry, are you still thinking about your sister? Yeah, my sister was super cool and fun and stuff. I would have been like asking them questions, because like I'm the kind of person to just be outright with it. But no, there was no mention of her death or like her suicide or something. But the thing is Vanderwolf alive? Like, is he alive? Because in my opinion, I don't think a single bomb is going to like kill that thing. In my opinion, I don't think anything that isn't like, I don't know, a nuke can kill it, because we've seen how like indestructible he is. Like, he literally took the bullets that Jinx like shot at him with the minigun with. He took those things real good, and it makes it so like I also believe that because Victor died, the hex core that was controlling all of those little robots, which those are a lot of robots. Those were a lot of robots. I don't even know why they were controlling so many robots. Like, did that many people live in that tiny community? Like, what? First you had robots in the bottom floor taking them out, and then you have like this whole fancy lining of them. And that is so crazy, because it's like, how many people did you have to kill or like cure in order for that to happen? Like, it really didn't make any sense to me. But then again, it's like, it's just a story. There's like off the screen time kind of stuff. But I don't know, it just felt like an unusual amount of robots. I think that's all that I have to critique about the story. Obviously the pacing, the beats need a little bit of work, but other than that, I think it's great. I loved it. I'm so glad that they like worked on it more and more, because if they gave us something that the League of Legends people didn't like, then I feel like it would have been a lost cause for Arcane. And yeah, that's all that I have to really say about Arcane. If y'all guys haven't, I recommend that you guys watch it. Even if y'all guys know nothing about League of Legends, y'all guys should definitely, because Lord knows I haven't touched that game in my entirety of being on this planet. But either way, the people who wrote it, the people who made it, the animation people even, they worked so hard on this, and it really shows there was a lot of passion in it, and that is great, because it ended up being one of the most beautiful masterpieces I've ever seen in my life. And I'm only 20. Jesus, I'm only 20. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys like watching this video. If y'all did, please subscribe to my channel if you want a little bit more content like this. And by all means, comment down below. Tell me if there's anything else you would like me to talk about. And without further ado, bye-bye!